Hi, welcome to my channel Rubia Stedman. Today I'll be teaching you how to crochet this beautiful scarf with pockets. It's very easy to do. I hope you guys like it and give it a try. And here is the list of material you're gonna need to make it. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe and click on the little bell. That way you get notification each time I upload a video. Remember, I make my videos in Spanish and English. If you receive a Spanish video and you want to see in English, go to the main page of my YouTube channel that you'll find the English version in there. To make this scarf with pockets, this is the yarn I'm going to use. Red Heart Super Saver Ombre, 100% acrylic, 283 gram each. Medium 4, and the color is, well, here is in Spanish the grafito, but it's graphite in English because the one that they have in English there is a very weird name. Okay, and it's this one. The crochet hook that I'm gonna use is 6.5 millimeter. You're gonna need tapestry needle and scissor and a measurement tape. I'm gonna start with a slip knot and chain 43. Remember, I'm working with a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook, so it's a little thick, so that's why the material is nice and loose, and really like working with it. So if you want to know where I bought this one, because I work a lot and these ones don't make my hands tired crocheting, I'll leave the link in the description box below. They're really nice. I really like them. I bought 2 sets. So I'm gonna chain 43. And if you want yours more like a wrap, a shawl like piece, and then you can do a 53 chains. That way it will give you a little more, 5 more motifs. So I'll meet you here when I have my 43. Here I have my 43 chains. Now I'm going to chain 3, and that counts as the first double crochet. That's chain 3. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then number 5 you're going to do a double crochet. And now you're going to do a double crochet on each chain space, and counting the chain 3 you'll have 43 double crochet. And you can make this with any medium 4 yarn. Don't have to be Red Heart. As long as medium 4, no problem. I will measure here when I have my 43 double crochet. I finished my first row. Now I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to turn my work around, and I'm going to do a double crochet on top of each double crochet for a total of 43 with a chain 3. And you see, it's much wider. And the next row, in the third row, we're gonna do the stitch. But if you don't feel comfortable enough to do the stitch, it's a very easy stitch. You can do your entire scarf with double crochet. It's okay, or any other stitch. Alright, then you're gonna continue until the end of this second row. I finished the second row. Now we're gonna chain 3. and that counts as the first double crochet of 4. Two, 3, and 4 double crochet, and that's the border stitch. Now we're gonna do the stitch, and you'll see how easy it is. It's yarn overs and chain. So you're gonna do a yarn over, you're gonna go into the same space where you did that stitch, you're gonna pass your hook through and pull it out, yarn over, skip one, go to the next one, pass your hook through, pull it up, you have 5, yarn over, pass it through, close it, and chain 1. And that's the stitch that we're gonna do. Very easy. Again, yarn over, go to the same space where you finish the last stitch, pass your hook through, you have 3, yarn over, skip 1 double crochet, go to the next one, pass it through, you have 5, close those 5 loops, and chain 1, like that. Yarn over, and always in the same space at that stitch, you're gonna go through there, you're gonna pull, yarn over, and you see the stitch always stay pretty much the same size. You're gonna skip the next double crochet and go to the next one, and yarn over, passes through, you have 5 loops, close those 5 loops, and chain 1, and not increasing any stitch because we are chaining 1 but we are skipping a double crochet underneath, so it's always even. You have to make sure that you have to do that chain space and you skip 1. So you're gonna go yarn over, go through that first loop in here where you did the last stitch, exactly in the same space, pass it through, you have 3, yarn over, have 4, skip 1, go to the next one, and you're gonna close the stitch, chain 1, and like that is how you're gonna continue working until you see these 4 stitches here into number, if you come from outside in, number 4. You're gonna finish in that stitch because in the same space we're gonna do the double crochet plus the other 3 for a total of 4. We're gonna finish exactly how we started with the double crochet and the stitch on the same space, but at the end we don't gonna do the chain 1. That's the difference. So I zoom in a little bit, that way you can see better the stitch. So you're gonna do a yarn over, you go to the same space in here where you did the last stitch, you're gonna pass it through, you have 3 loop, yarn over, skip this one and go to the next one, pass it through, you have 5, you're gonna close those 5 loops and chain 1. So it's very easy. Yarn over, go to the same space, you have 3, yarn over, skip 1, go to the next one, you have 5, pass it through those 5, close those 5 loop and chain 1, and like that you're going to continue with the stitch. I close the last stitch. I don't gonna chain one. I'm just gonna do a yarn over, and in the same space I'm gonna do a double crochet, and exactly how you started, you see, with the double crochet, and then you did the stitch in the same space. You're gonna finish. You're always gonna start and finish like that, with no chain space. And then you're gonna do the other 3 for a total of 4 double crochet. And it look like this. You're gonna chain 3. You're gonna turn your work around, and exactly how you're gonna work in this row, you're gonna work all the rows. You're gonna do the other 3 double crochet for a total of 4. It's always a double crochet on top of each double crochet. Yarn over. You're gonna go to the same space where you did the double crochet. You have 3 loops. Yarn over. Now you go to the chain space, pass it through, pull it out, close those 5 stitches or loops, and chain 1. So now you're gonna work from the last leg to the next chain. Always all the row will be like that, working in the chain. Yarn over, go to the chain space where you did the last stitch. Yarn over, go to the next chain space. And I'm not increasing anything, I'm just working exactly as the row before, but this time is on the chains, because when you do the work on the chain, you're skipping the stitch below and between. So each stitch will be one on top of each other, like so. Yarn over, you go to the same space, you have 3 loops, yarn over, you go to the next one, pass it through, you have 5, pass it through those 5, close them, and chain 1. You only had to do the chain 1 because you need that chain in order to work your stitch. Yarn over, go to that chain space, in the same space where you did that last one, yarn over, and go to the next chain space, pass your hook, pull it, and close the 5 loops. And that's why it takes a little bit more yarn, because the stitch is just yarn overs and chains and the double crochet at the ends, but it takes a little more to do the stitch, a little more yarn. So as you look, I'm not doing any increase. It will be nice and straight as you work, but you have to make sure that you always do the chain space and that you don't increase a chain, neither when you start after you do the last double crochet or when you're gonna do the first one. When you do the last of this stitch, you have to make sure that you close it and don't do a chain space, because you'll increase one motif. That happened to me, and I'm glad I got it. I just was working in the second row from where I did that mistake. I wasn't paying attention, and then I realized that I have an extra stitch on the piece, and then I frogged the little piece. But you have to make sure that you don't increase the chain, because it will give you an extra stitch at the end. You're always going to do the yarn over, go to the same space where you finished the last stitch, yarn over, and go to the chain space, and the chain is right in the center, so it's very easy to find. You're going to close, chain 1, yarn over, go to the same space, yarn over, go to the chain space, close that, and chain 1. So you have to make sure that you always do that chain space, otherwise you don't going to have a space to do the stitch. Let me show you. You close it, and then you do the next stitch without that chain space. They will be together, and you don't want to have the space for the next stitch, the next row. So you have to make sure that you do the chain. And I recommend for the beginning few rows to look each time you finish a row, just in case you miss that chain space until you get going with the stitch, you know, read like that, nice and straight. I'm gonna work on the last stitch, so I'm gonna pass it through that same loop, yarn over, and you're gonna go to the first double crochet. You're gonna pass it through, close those 5 loops, and do a double crochet in the same space, and do the other 3. And you done the 4th row or the second one of the stitch, and as you look, it's nice and straight because I don't done any increase. Again, you're gonna chain 3, and you'll see it's exactly the same. You're gonna turn your work around, and you're gonna do the other 3 double crochet. Now yarn over in the same space at the last double crochet. You're gonna pass your loops through, yarn over the chain space, close those 5 loops, and chain 1. And you see it's exactly the same. Yarn over, go to the same space where you did the last stitch. You have 3, yarn over, go to the next one. You have 5, chain 1, and like that you're going to continue working exactly the same as we've done so far, over and over until you have your desired length. I cannot tell you exactly what length for you because not everybody is the same height, so you have to measure in your body. So make sure that when you try it on, you stretch your arms down and you have enough space longer than the tip of your fingers. That way it's the right length. So for mine, I'm gonna work around 150 centimeters, and then I will try it on to see if I need to do mine longer. And you'll see, let me zoom out, that you see that it's nice and straight. You see, it's exactly the same repetition. I'm not increasing stitches, I'm not decreasing. You only have to make sure that at the end, when you finish the last stitch, you don't do that chain space, because automatically you'll want to do, after you finish, the chain space. But you have to make sure that you don't, because otherwise you'll be increasing the extra stitch. And if you continue like that, it will be nice and straight until the end. At the end of the piece, you will finish with 2 rows of double crochet. That way you have the border on the other side. So I already used 1 ball of yarn for what I'm done so far. You see, nice and straight, and the stitch look amazing. And I'm done around 130 centimeters with the first ball of yarn. And you look, everything is nice and even here in the side. It's very important, otherwise you will have a narrow part and a wider part on your piece. So work on your scarf until you have the length, and then I will meet you here to finish with the 2 rows of double crochet. and then we'll work. Something that I wanted to show you is that I finished here with one of the row of the lighter color, because this one from here down is a little bit darker. It's when the color change. So what I'm gonna do in my next ball, I'm gonna pull out until I get to that color, and I pull enough around the same of a row, and then I'll continue working with the rest. That way it's nice and even, the continuation of the color, and then whatever yarn I pull out I will use for one of the pockets. So far so good. I love the way the stitches look. It's funny that in the camera you can see how nice the stitch look in person. It's like a 3D stitch, and it's a reversible stitch. Gorgeous. So I already start to change color to a lighter color, and here this is what I've done so far. So I will continue working until I have my 155 centimeter, and then we'll finish with the 2 rows of double crochet at the end. I will show you as well how I'm gonna change to the next ball of yarn, because I still have a little bit of tail here, but I don't want to start this row and be stuck in the middle with a knot. Neither I want the knot at the border. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chain 3. I'm gonna turn my work around, and I'm gonna do the first double crochet, but I don't gonna finish the first double crochet. I had the 2 loops. I'm gonna grab the next ball of yarn. I'm gonna pass it through those 2 loops. I'm gonna pull a little bit the tail at the one I just finished with, and I will continue with the new yarn. And the only thing I had to do is lose those two tails, and you don't gonna see where you change your ball of yarn. Here I have my 176 centimeters. Remember, the length depends of your height. You will have to measure on yourself. And my hands is around here when I put it over my shoulders. So now it looks like this. We're gonna do these 2 rows of double crochet at the end, that way they're even. You're gonna chain 3. You're gonna turn your work, and you're gonna do a double crochet on each double crochet for a total of 4. And now you're gonna work where you close the stitches, in the chain 1 space where you close the stitch, and in the chain 1 space. It will see like you have more than that, but you have to make sure that you don't increase stitches. You have to have 2 for each motif. And count the one on top of the motif and the one in the chain space. So work those 2 rows of double crochet, loose the tails, and we'll start working on the pockets. Make sure that when you finish your first row of double crochet that you have exactly the same amount of stitches that you start your piece, including the chain 3. I have my 43 stitches. Now I'm going to chain 3, and I work a double crochet on top of each double crochet until the end. Cut the yarn, loose the tails, and we'll work on the pockets. Now for the pockets, you're going to do 2 exactly the same, and we're going to do exactly what we did for the bigger piece, but smaller. I already have my 2 pockets done, and I will explain you what I did. And I have 1 dark one, and coincident 1 light one, and I have a darker part, and at the other end a lighter part. And I didn't plan to do the pockets like that. It's just the coincidence of the ball of yarn. So for this one, what I did, was a chain of 32, and I work 29 double crochet, counting the chain 3 as the first one. I went to the 5th chain and I did my first double crochet. I did 1 row and I did the 2nd row exactly the same as the border of the beginning. I did 4 border stitch in this end, 4 in this one, and the rest I did the design of this bigger piece, exactly the same. That's why 29 stitches you have to have odd numbers. I work for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 row of the design, and then I did 2 row of double crochet. Now if you want the pocket a little deeper, you can do 1, 2, or 3 row more. That depends on the length that you want your pocket. But for my hand, it's perfect. So I'm gonna give you the measurements of the pocket. This one measures 24 centimeters wide for 20 centimeters of length. So what I did was to figure out the size, leaving 1 motif in this side and 1 motif in this one out, just in case you are making this bigger than mine, you know how many chains to do for yours. Okay, make the 2 pockets and then we'll sew them to the bigger piece. I pin the pockets. For mine, I left 4 rows of the design, and in between 4 and 5 I pin the lower part. You'll see that you have a line like this one that you see in here, this one between 2 and 3, so you'll have one between 4 and 5. So, and then I make sure that I have 1 motif in this side and 1 motif in this one. I did the same with the other pocket. It's ready on the other side, exactly the same height and everything. So I tried it on. I went downstairs to show my daughter and she said, "Please, that's mine." It's just so funny. When she likes something, she just wants it. So now we're gonna sew our pocket. Measure yours and pin it, try it on, and make sure that your hands go in no problem. So for my piece, it is perfect. This is the leftover yarn from those two balls, enough for a hat or a small cowl or neck warmer. So now I'll show you the end result. Well, this is the end result, and I absolutely love this scarf with pockets. And one side is a darker color, and in the other one a lighter color because the gradient of the yarn. And I absolutely love the yarn with the stitch. It looks amazing. Well, I hope you guys like it and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you make this scarf with pockets and you want to send me some picture, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Esteban Crochet, or my Instagram, Ruby Esteban Crochet. Please share my videos with friends and family. That way you help me grow here on YouTube. I wish you have a beautiful day. Bye.